watching Trainspotting, the film, when it first came out. I was about 14 and I loved it. And I recently rewatched it and it still holds up. It's about 90 minutes long, but it feels like 60 minutes. And that's a sign of a good film. Every single scene counts. It's still a very powerful film and one of the best films ever made, in my opinion. And the most memorable character in that film, arguably, is Begbie, the psychopath. The Blade Artist is about Begbie. And believe it or not, he now lives in California and he works as an artist. He's like a yuppie. He's the polar opposite of what he used to be in that film, in the original Trainspotting film and the book. This book was released in 2016. I remember seeing a billboard for it, and as soon as I found out that he lived in America as an artist, I thought, I've got to read that. But it's taken me 9 years to get around to reading this book, but I finally have. I've just finished reading it. Begbie is an artist and he does sculptures. He does sculptures of celebrities, and when he's finished with them, he attacks them as though the celebrities have been mutilated in some way. He's got a beautiful wife, a blonde wife, and he met her in prison. She was either his art teacher or some kind of therapist while he was in prison. And when he got out, they ended up getting together. And so now they've got 2 daughters in America. And he's carved out this nice life for himself. But one of his sons back in Scotland gets murdered. And he has to go back to Scotland to attend the funeral. And while he's there, he gets sucked back into this horrible, dark, criminal underworld in Scotland, in Edinburgh. My first impressions of this book were quite good. It's very lucid. It's surprisingly easy to read. And it doesn't rely too much on Scottish dialect like Trainspotting does, or a lot of Irvin Welsh's books do. It's the Scottish dialect is there in this book, but it's not too much. It's not there on every page, so it's quite easy to read. You don't learn how he met his wife straight away. The story does cut straight to the chase. In the first chapter, there's a bit of violence, so it doesn't waste any time. But in terms of this new lifestyle and his wife, you only learn how it came about gradually. And the same goes for his murdered son. The story could be described as a kind of whodunit, and it's a gradual process. And as the chapters go along, you slowly learn what's going on and how he's ended up in America and who actually murdered his son. The Blade Artist is very entertaining, like most of Welsh's novels. It's a nice mix of suspense and humour. All of Welsh's books are very humorous, and I like that. I like that element. It's got violence, it's got grit. It's got true grit, but it's also got the humour in it that keeps you... It's not too heavy because of the humour, and it keeps you going. And so I actually found myself reading this book in the voice of Billy Connolly. It's so Scottish, you know. That's what Irvin Welsh's books are all about. It's like the voice of Scotland. So I kept reading the words as Billy Connolly or Irvin Welsh himself. To my surprise, the Virgin Killer is referenced in this book, indirectly. It's mentioned that there's a serial killer in America, and the killer is the son of a film director. To the best of my knowledge, the Virgin Killer was the son of a film director, so it's like a subtle reference there. Very brief, only like 1 or 2 sentences. And I also like the fact that Begbie actually reads A Clockwork Orange in this book. He's back in Edinburgh He's sleeping at his sister's house, and he's got a Kindle device, and he's reading A Clockwork Orange. I like that because A Clockwork Orange is one of my favourite books. Begbie as a character works in this book. He's quite believable, even though you've got this radical change of lifestyle. You know, like going from a kind of lager lout in Scotland to a yuppie in America. As unbelievable and unlikely as that is, the character kind of works in the book, and you've got a couple of subplots as well. The subplots are titled Delivery Boy, which explores Begbie's childhood and how he became to be the violent lager lout as he is in Trainspotting. So you kind of learn about his backstory. And there's another weird subplot called The Dance Partner, which is about him going to these salsa dance classes with his wife. I didn't really understand that part as much. I enjoyed the Delivery Boy subplot a bit more, where you learn about when he was a child. He used to have this granddad who played poker with his friends, and he witnessed all of these horrible things as a child. I quite enjoyed that part of the book. That said, I did find it hard to visualise other characters in this book. Begbie is well crafted. His grandfather and his mates, like his old backstory, is quite good. And I kind of believed his wife. That was all believable. But there are some characters in this book, certain gangsters in particular, who I couldn't really see them that well. And that affected certain events down the line. There's like a big revelation at the end. And it didn't really have that much of an impact for me because I couldn't quite see the characters. So there's a kind of red cross against the story there. Thank you for making it to the halfway point of this video. This is a quick message to let you know that I have a range of horror and sci-fi horror books available, and some of them are completely free. If you enjoy my videos, you might also enjoy my stories, so why not have a look? And if you'd like to receive fortnightly updates regarding the world of horror and weird literature, as well as book recommendations and prize giveaways, consider joining my mailing list. You'll even receive free horror audiobooks for doing so, written by me and narrated professionally. Finally, if you want to support my work, you can make a donation to my PayPal tip jar. All the links are below. Thank you. Now back to the video. There are themes of maturity and coming of age in this story. Not quite coming of age as such. He's an adult all throughout the novel, but he's moved on, and it's a story about personal demons and fighting your demons. That's generally what this book is about. No spoilers here. No spoilers, but I will say that your demons can sometimes win, and there is a lot of violence in the story, which you'll probably appreciate if you like Trainspotting and Begbie. And there's a very kinky scene at the end. I'll describe it as a kinky killing involving knives, the blade artist, and handcuffs, and what else? It involves certain contraptions. I'll describe it as a kinky torture killing scene. So brace yourself for that. It's quite a short book and a light read. Maybe light is the wrong word. It's quite violent. But it's quite a short book. I read it in about 7 days. I gave this book a grudging 4 stars on Goodreads. Grudging because even though it's entertaining, and even though it explores one of my favourite characters in fiction, it, it's certainly not going to go into my top 10 books of all time. And I don't know, what was it? It lacks something. It lacks a certain magic touch. So I gave it 4 stars, which is a good rating, but I did so grudgingly. I was thinking about giving it 3 stars instead. My experience with Irvin Welsh's books is quite mixed. I actually DNF'd Trainspotting, the novel. I actually put it down. I might go back to it, but I DNF'd it because, well, compared to the film, it didn't seem that good. It was quite a while ago now. I didn't finish it. I read Skag Boys, which is a prequel to Trainspotting, and that's quite a long book, and I read it all, and it was very entertaining, again, like all of his books are, but it's completely pointless. There's no actual... there's no, like... A good story has to have a point. There has to be some kind of turmoil. The characters have to get over that problem and turmoil, and then there's a kind of resolution. You won't get that with Skag Boys. It's just an exploration of the characters, and that's it. So that was my consensus of that. I've read A Decent Ride, which is about a character called Juice Terry. This is actually my favourite Irvin Welsh book. It's hilarious. It's about this cab driver who makes porn films. This is my highest recommendation. I liked A Decent Ride. Ecstasy is a short story collection from the 90s, I think, and I actually DNF this. There are 1 or 2 excellent stories in here that are very funny, but I think I got to the last story and put it down. And so it's my experience with Irvin Welsh is a bit mixed. I'm currently reading a few stories from The Acid House. I love the film, The Acid House, by the way. The film is great. I'm kind of reading a few stories from the book, and I recently discovered this in a second-hand bookstore, Dead Men's Trousers, and this is... You're supposed to read this after The Blade Artist, so I'm going to give this a go. As I say, the Blade Artist got a grudging 4 stars, but I did enjoy it, so I will be reading this. I will be moving on to that at some point. How did Irvin Welsh get his lucky break, I wonder? Because I'm not saying he's a bad writer. He's a good writer, but I just wonder how he got Trainspotting published in the first place, and how it got turned into a film after that, which is even more of an accomplishment. I don't know his backstory. If you do, let me know in the comments section, because I'm quite curious as to that. I also find it quite ironic that Irvin Welsh is the voice of Scotland, but his surname is Welsh, as in Wales. By the way, there's a TV series that's getting made about the Blade Artist. I think it's like a 6-part TV series, and it's gonna star what's his name? Carlyle, the man who played Begbie in the original Trainspotting film from the 90s. I think his name is Robert Carlyle or Carmichael, something like that. Let me know that as well, please, in the comments section. I think it's Robert Carlyle. He's going to be in it. So they're going to make a TV series of this book, which I'm going to have to watch now because I've read the book. So keep an eye out for that. Thanks very much for watching. I'll be back in 2 weeks with another book review. In the meantime, try to have a good day on this pugnacious, artsy, Begbian piece of rock we call Earth. Lots of love. Goodbye.